Yugi's legendary decks being reprinted on the 27th of May. This gives us some of the most iconic cards used in the anime, but what card from this set leads to the strongest and most competitive deck? This is going to be the start of a mini-series around Yugi's legendary decks. Looking at the card list, I divided the cards into 9 main archetypes. These archetypes are Exodia, the God cards, Gadgets, Blackluster Soldier, Buster Blader, Dark Magician, Magnet Warriors, Silent Magician and Swordsman, and Guy the Fierce Knight. The challenge is to build the most competitive deck for each of these archetypes to see which archetype comes out on top.
It's time to do.
So guys, it's that time again. We're back at it again with our mini-series. This time we're covering Blackluster Soldier BLS. Which is the Blackluster Soldier has always been one of those cards, one of his archetypes that one card has always seen some sort of competitive play. Obviously with Envoy of the beginning, it was constantly in the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! And now we've got Soldier of Chaos that sees some competitive play right now. The archetype's really cool. I really enjoy the art of it as well. Such cool cards. I wish if the actual like the level 4s and stuff had such a little bit better effects, make it more viable to play just a Blackluster Soldier deck. But we're going to kick off and I'll talk to you about what deck we're actually playing. So for our Blackluster Soldier package, we're playing 1 Envoy of the Beginning, 1 Envoy of the Evening Twilight, 2 Super Soldier, and that's our Blackluster Soldier lineup done and dusted. So 2 Ritual and 2 Banish for cost. And then obviously we're going to have to play a Chaos package. So our Chaos package is going to be 1 Levianeer, 1 Collapse Serpent, 1 Wyver Burster, just really good cards, and then 1 Chaos Creator because we need to be able to special summon, and this card's really cool, especially with the package we're also going to play in this deck. This card makes it really cool. We're going to play Dangers as well. It's a case of getting Darks into the graveyard. Dangers are the easiest way to get Darks into the graveyard right now. So we're playing 2 Chupacabra, 1 Tushinoku, 1 Jackalope, and 1 Nessie. I think this is the optimal package right now. You could swap out the Chupacabra, but I like the effect of a Chupacabra being able to special summon, which is really cool because it allows us to go into more plays in our extra deck. We're playing 1 Performage Trick Clown. This card is a must in this deck because of the Dangers, because we can discard it, and also because we are playing Lightsworn, of course. 2 Wolf, we never want to see in your opening hand. 3 Raiden, this is the one that you always want to see. 2 Phyllis, Lightsworn Archer. Obviously, you could maybe play 3 of this. You could even drop it down to 1. I think 2 is good. Because obviously if we mill it off Charge of the Light Brigade or Solar Recharge, we can't special summon it, we have to mill it off a monster effect, so it can be bricky, but it's good. Playing 2 Lumina, this is good because we always want to try and get, if we can get Raiden to the graveyard, we can get an extra body on the field from Lumina instead of just normal summoning Raiden. 2 Minerva, this is another one that we can it just gets mill, so we just get an extra mill off this card. And also we're playing 1 Plague Spreader Zombie, just because if this card ends up in the graveyard, we can special summon it, but also it's a dark, so it has good synergy with our Chaos package as well. That's why Lightsworn Danger is really good for the Chaos package. Obviously we're playing 3 Solar Recharge, such a good card. 1 Rotor just to get to our Raiden. 1 Foolish Burial because obviously we're playing a lot of graveyard effects. We can send Trick Clown or Spreader or Wolf. And we can get a body onto the field. 3 Charge of the Light Brigade. This is really good because we want to fill our graveyard up really quickly. 3 Chaos Space. Again, graveyard effect. Has a if a card's banished, we can get to draw a card as well, which is really good. And then we're playing 3 Super Soldier Synthesis, which is really good actually because if we mill our Blackluster Soldier Super Soldier, we can still ritual summon from a graveyard using this card, and that's also why Chupacabra is also in here as one of the better Dangers, because we need a level 4 because we can send Chupacabra and Phyllis off it, and we can get it to our Super Soldier, which is really good. Or if we wanted to, we can send Chupacabra and Trick Clown, because then we can activate the effect of Trick Clown and we get it's almost like a double summon there. So we'll move over to the extra deck. The extra deck's pretty much standard for a Lightsworn Chaos, so we're playing 2 Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. I do think you could probably take this down to 1, obviously because it has the graveyard effect where it can summon itself. So really you could probably get away with playing one and having a different card in here. One Bowload Savage Dragon, because we're playing level 4s and Tuner's level 4, so we can always end up on Savage. One Michael the Arch Lightsworn. We never really make this card. It's good, it's okay. It's a Lightsworn. One Zeus, obviously. Zeus has to be in everybody's extra deck right now. One Hope Harbinger, we're playing lots of level 8s, which is good, and this allows us access to Zeus as well. Minerva, of course. Everyone knows that Lightsworn end on Minerva Pass. Has anyone ever seen someone out Minerva Pass? I haven't. Yeah, but 2 Minerva, because that's really good as well, because it allows us to extend further. One Underworld Goddess, I've told you before, the card has to be in the deck. It's my favourite card, especially in this sort of deck, because we're constantly extending the deck. We can get lots of body onto the field really quickly. One Appaloosa for the negates. One Blacklist Soldier, of course, because it's a Blacklist Soldier deck. The card's really good. We do play enough monsters to use a level 7, so it becomes like a Towers. One Curious. This card's really good. I didn't realise how good this card was. Obviously, 3 monsters with the same attributes is a bit hard to make, but not when you're playing Lightsworns, when we've got so many different variants and the Chaos variants. This card really becomes good. It has a Foolish Burial effect in itself, and it mills as well, so this is really good. One Hulk Firebrax, just in case we need to extend to get a tuner. And 2 IP Masquerader. Again, you can probably cut down Masquerader to 1. I just like to have 2 just in case we want to do anything fancy after we've used our first one. But yeah, that's the Chaos Lightsworn Blacklist Soldier with a Danger package as well. I think this is the optimal right now. I've not played Lightsworn before. I've played with Dangers, and the Chaos package I've played with before. But this is my first time playing Lightsworn, so I was looking up to try and find out the best package, and I saw this was there was variations, but I believe that this was the best package for this deck. But yeah, I'll get you into the gameplay, and I'll show you what the deck can do and how good it is even without any hand traps, because this deck goes through interruptions like mad and can set up some big boards. But yeah, let's get into the gameplay and I'll show you what we can do. So guys, before we go into our games against opponents, we're going to show you a quick board we can make against the AI here. So we're going to activate Set Recharge, and off recharge we hit Trick Clown special summon itself, paying 1,000. We activate Foolish Burial here, getting Wolf to the graveyard, Wolf special summons itself up to the field. We'll special summon Collapse Serpent now. We'll activate Charge again, which is good. We'll add to our hand a Lumina, obviously because we want the normal summon to be Lumina so we can get Raiden. We'll get Minerva onto the field now, activate Minerva, just getting Collapse Serpent to the graveyard. Felice is milled off the top, so we get special summon Felice. We'll go into our Chaos Dragon now, which allows us to escape 5 and add 1 to our hand, which is really good. We'll see a Minerva as well, so we'll get an extra mill off that. Minerva's effect, discards a Chupacabra. We'll activate Chaos Space, we'll draw 1 extra. So we drew into a Set of Recharge, which is really good for us, it's another extender. Then we will normal summon Lumina. We'll discard Raiden to special summon Raiden, so we can activate Raiden's effect in 2. We will now go into Curious here. And obviously Curious has the Foolish Burial effect, so we will send Phyllis. Phyllis's effect activates, special summons onto the field. Curious obviously mills 3. We'll then go in to Appaloosa using the Chaos Ruler as well, which is really good because then we can just bring it back straight from the graveyard straight away. Really good effect, really good self-replenishing almost. And then we've still got so much space here, so we'll go into a Chaos Dragon Levianeer. We're using only lights here so we can get an extra special summon off the effect of it, and we will special summon a Chupacabra here because it's level 4. So we go into Bowload Savage Dragon. Really cool here because then we obviously Bowload will take the Curious here with free Bowload tokens even onto it. We will now special summon BLS onto the field, which is really cool. We were going thought about making IP Masquerader here. But we're going to Hope Harbinger. Yeah. And then we will take away the Wolf from our hand. We'll mill to see if we get anything. But we get to draw into Chaos Creator here. So we'll get rid of the Raiden, Collapse Serpent, and Wyvern Burster. So then now, here we go, the Wyvern Burster, Collapse Serpent, and Raiden. So we can get up to Raiden onto the field, which is really cool for us. Especially put those back into our deck as well. So now we've still got a really big board. seeing what else we can maybe potentially do here. I thought about Masquerena again, but we'll go into BLS as well instead, so it's the towers. We'll activate Jackalope, but we don't hit any targets. But that's pretty much a good board to build on. There's so many more things you can do if you activate a Dark Hole, but this board's pretty good. The opponent can't do anything now. But this is just an example of what sort of board you can make in this deck. So now we're into our actual games against other players. So we go into this game. We're going second. So we see a rocket recharge go down. Obviously, we're going to go into link it to a Striker Dragon here. Striker Dragon's effect activates. Get a rocket onto the field. We also get a boot set to launch to hand. So obviously we're going to some sort of Dragon Link deck. We go into Romulus here, which is pretty standard. Obviously we don't play any hand traps in the deck, so we can't activate something like Ash Blossom or Troll and Lockbird. But we get Dragoon to Divine Lance onto the field. We get Phalanx as well. Do a special summon Phalanx as well. It's a constant extension here from Dragon Link. Must have been a 50 card deck or a 45 at least. So we go into Dragon Ravine here. We'll send one dragon from obviously we'll send Tracer here, and we'll send Abzerata. Abzerata's effect will activate and trigger itself to get Rocket Synchron to hand. So then we'll activate boot set to launch. We'll special from hand. So there's a special summon a Tracer here. We'll link away the Tracer and the other rocket into Christian Fire Rats to get Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. We'll go into Snapalooza here. So obviously we're going to go in. We'll go into LP here with the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. Obviously we played in Plus Blader. We'll get Rocket Synchron. We'll activate Rocket Synchron here. We'll go into Phalanx again. We'll special summon it again. Not once per turn, by the way. We'll go into Pisty here. Pisty and LP on the field. You love to see it. They'll special summon again. Dragon Link's crazy. Constant revision of cards that they have is so mad. The link away in to be linked away to they summon DMZ, not Rocket Synchron. We're going to Predator Anaconda. We'll equip the DMZ with a Dragon Buster. We'll send Red Eyes Fusion to the graveyard, and we'll get a Dragoon. So we're facing down an extra lock and Appaloosa and a Dragoon. We'll activate Chaos Space here. We'll pitch our Raiden from hand. The Ash Blossom was here, so one more interruption than we were thinking we were going to face. We'll activate Charge of the Light Brigade. We'll send 3 to the graveyard. They'll activate Dragoon. So at this point, we're thinking this isn't good. But we have another Solar Recharge in hand. We'll send the Raiden, which is really good because we actually got a Lumina here. But then we get we send the Solar Recharge, get Minerva sent. We'll look at on my field. We're going to be able to do a special summon Chaos Dragon Levineer here. We'll send 3 lights. We'll activate Levineer. It's trying to bait out the Appaloosa. So the Appaloosa effect is activated. We'll activate Chaos Space here to get another draw. And we get a Raiden, which is really cool. Really key for us here. We'll now special summon a BLS onto our field. We'll activate the BLS. We'll target the DMC, try and get rid of that Buster Lock. We activate Appaloosa, of course. Blocking us out of that. We'll activate Raiden here. Didn't hit anything on the search. We'll activate Jackalope. Get the Jackalope effect. Get a Chupacabra. We'll go into the battle phase. We'll now hit over the Appaloosa, smashing it. Hitting over the DMZ, sending the Dragon Buster Lock, and hitting over Predator Video and Conda. We'll go to main phase 2, and you think we're still chasing down Dragoon here. But of course, Underworld Goddess of a Closed World is going to come out and save us. Special summon it on the field, get rid of the Dragoon, get rid of our field. It's a top deck war now. We've got the effect of Underworld Goddess, so he can't replenish his graveyard. We're going to win this easily. He's on 1,800 life points. Next turn, he's on a 1-turn clock. What could we do here? It's top decking in Dragon Link. Obviously, we could top deck anything right now. But we've got a graveyard negate, and it can only be targeted by targeted cards. So if he drew something like Dark Hole, we're still key here. We're in the fighting position, which is really cool against Dragon Link. Look at the interruptions we've come up against. And he's quit. There you go. Underworld Goddess of a Closed World. Incredible card. So after facing down that lethal board in the last game of Dragon Link with DMZ, with a Dragon Buster, Destruction Sword, a Dragoon, an Appaloosa with 2 negates, we come up against what looks to be a Dark Magician deck, which is cool for us. Let's just take the not the foot off the gas, but it's slightly easier to come up against than it would be if it was playing Dragon Link again. So we'll activate Chaos Space here. We've got 2 wolves in hand, of course, because Lightsworn constantly drawing to Wolf, the fact that we can't get normal summon Wolf. They'll flip up Eternal Soul here. They'll add one Dark Magic attack, but we'll special summon Dark Magician instead. So from that we'll get our Evening Twilight to hand, which is probably the weakest card that I would say that you could swap out, because it's only been played in this deck because of the Blackluster Soldier accompaniment, but it's not great. We'll activate Solar Recharge. We get a charge of a Light Brigade off that as well, so we can add a... what do we want to add? I think we're probably going to go for a Felice here, because we want to discard with Lumina. But we'll go into Evening Twilight here, which isn't often you can because you need an even number of darks and lights. But we'll target the Dark Magician, of course, but the Eternal Soul protects and negates, which I should have realised at the time. We check our graveyard out here. We summon the Raiden. We'll mill the Luminary and the Chaos Greater, which isn't great for us right now. But we'll go into a Blackluster Soldier, of course. We can activate the effect, but we can't pop anything. We can't even go into our battle phase right now because of Evening Twilight. But we'll go in again. But obviously, Eternal Soul is protected. I don't know why I tried again. I've tried twice. Why did I think it was going to work? I have no idea. We'll go into an end phase. We'll mill with Raiden, and the board we've ended on has not been good. A little bit of a misplay there from us, because we really should have waited on the Lumina draw. Because if we sent Raiden to the grave, or I don't know why we picked Felice up for a hand instead of picking up a Raiden, so we can discard and summon. But it's the idea of trying to get Evening Twilight onto the field. I got too excited about it. Having an even number of darks and lights in this sort of deck is really difficult to make, especially because Danger's discard, Lightsworn's mill all the time. It's always hard to get an even number of each. But that's okay. We'll see what this guy does. See if he can take us out this turn. And if not, he's in for a treat. They'll activate Eye of Tobias, we'll target the Dark Magician, presumably going into the Dark Magicians. Well, hopefully going into the Dark Magicians. Not sure what else he could go into. There it is, yeah, the Dark Magicians. They'll activate Magician of Dark Illusion as well, which will special summon a Dark Magician here. There it is. So now I'm facing down, and then we'll activate Dark Magical Circle, of course, and target our BLS. And we're beginning, by the way, not Evening Twilight, because who would target Evening Twilight? No one. Probably could have gone into Hope Harbinger as well, but we chose against any sort of realistically good plays in the turn we did. We'll set an extra back row. And it's of course Eternal Soul again. So off the Eternal Soul, they're probably still going to go into a wait for a battle phase here, because we still can't hit over our BLS right now. But they'll go into Big Eye, which is interesting because that means we're just going to target one of our monsters, and it's going to be Evening Twilight, isn't it? Which is going to be really annoying. Because now we're facing down. Obviously it can't attack us this turn because Big Eye's effect says that. Oh no, it can attack this turn. I misread Big Eye. So we'll activate Dark Magicians. Oh, it's Big Eye that can't attack, isn't it? Not the other way around. That makes more sense. So we're going from there. Yeah, we're facing down a pretty big board here. So obviously we'll link it away into Witch's Apprentice so that we don't get rid of it, which is an interesting choice. I think we could have gone into Predatory Anaconda if they were playing with Red Eyes package. Apparently not, but it's Dark Magician, you'd expect them to be playing that. So activate a charge of Light Brigade, seems to top deck it a lot, which will get us a Minerva. They will activate Eternal Soul, summoning a Dark Magician. We will get a Raiden to hand. It will activate Minerva and Minerva because we milled 2. So it gets us an extra. We see Chaos Space. So we get an extra draw here, so we'll get Chaos Greater back to hand. We drew a Chupacabra, which is really good for us. We'll activate Lumina, discarding Felice, to get a Raiden to hand, to onto the field. We'll activate Raiden. We see a Wolf, and we see a Trick Clown. This is great for us. That's 2 extra summons out of nowhere. The board's looking better. We'll activate Chupacabra. Chupacabra gets discarded herself, getting 2 Shinoka to onto the field now. Now we've got a big board right now. So now it's a case of what do we want to go into. So we're going to Chaos Ruler, using Trick Clown and Raiden. We'll activate Chaos Ruler, of course, because why not mill 5? And we'll add Light, so we'll add Jackalope, because obviously Felice is going to activate anyway and get back onto the field, which is really good for us. Then we will... I think we activate... Did we do activate Felice? No, I don't think so. We'll go into, hopefully, an Underworld Goddess here. Maybe. Oh no, chosen against it. Yeah, no, we are going in for it. So we'll choose Lumina, Tushinoku, and the Witch's Apprentice. Go into Underworld Goddess, negate the effect of the Dark Magicians. We'll activate Jackalope here, summon Jackalope, get an extra draw. We'll go into a Collapse Serpent here, get rid of the Wyver Burster from our graveyard. So we go into Minerva here, just for an extra. We'll get rid of the Collapse Serpent off Minerva, and now we'll head into battle. We'll hit over the Dark Magician. Then we'll use Chaos Ruler to hit over the Dark Magicians, and of course we'll activate the effect here. We'll chain Underworld Goddess so he can't get into that effect. We'll hit in with Minerva, and of course that means we get into Zeus. We just check the materials on Zeus, and we'll end our turn on that. What I could have done there is gone into Masquerena and then use Chaos Ruler's effect to bring itself back. And got rid of Jackalope off the field, because now it's just sitting there as a target. But we've got Zeus anyway, so it's going to prevent him from taking over our Jackalope anyway. We'll activate Underworld Goddess again, stopping him from any graveyard effects. So this is basically stopping Magician Souls from going off in the graveyard, which is really good for us. Oh well, Magician Souls is activated after, but we stopped whatever he wanted to do first time. He'll activate Magician Souls this time. Such a good card, sees a lot of players in Pendulum decks now as well, which is cool. Really good. I think it's really expensive. I think it's like £90 a copy, something ridiculous. It needs to get reprinted, hopefully in Megatins. Dark Magician Girl gets sent to the graveyard. Keep wanting us to chain Zeus. We're not going to chain Zeus yet. We've still got time for Zeus. Obviously with Zeus, the effects will take all of our things, but Chaos Ruler will be able to come back because of the banish effect. They'll get a Dark Magician. They will then target our Underworld Goddess, but it doesn't matter because we're going to activate Zeus and send everything. But Dark Magician obviously stays on field, but then Eternal Soul gets rid of Dark Magician because as soon as Eternal Soul's gone, then he can't have any cards on the field, he gets destroyed, which is the downside to Eternal Soul, but Dark Magician deck needs to play it because it allows special summoning. Which is really cool, but yeah, it's a little bit of a downside onto it. But so now we're just sitting on the board of Zeus. No materials, they've got 4 cards in hand, but we have a whole lot of package in our graveyard. So we'll activate Chaos Space here. We'll bring back a BLS to our hand. Oh, and we could do Chaos Creator. What a top deck that is. We'll get Chaos Ruler here. We'll reposition our Zeus. You know, we've still got so much here. So we'll go into our Chaos Creator here. And we'll activate the effect of Chaos Creator. Send up BLS and Minerva and Wyver Burster. We'll then be able to summon the Minerva back, and they surrendered. Yeah, I would. The board was too strong. We got that in the bag. Easy as that. Getting to one of our last games here, we obviously see my opponent end on a board of the Time Lord, so we'll activate Sun and Recharge here, discarding Felice. We'll activate Chupacabra. We'll discard our Super Soldier to get Chupacabra onto the board, drawing a card. We've got an extra Chupacabra here. Discard our Plague Spreader, which is really good for us because we obviously Plague Spreader is recursive. We'll put back in our Wolf because we don't want to see it in our hand, which is really cool. We'll go into probably a Minerva here. Yeah, but with 2 Chupacabras. And then we will activate the Minerva. Obviously the Time Lord's not the easiest cards to get rid of. But we all know which the best way to get rid of cards that are hard to get rid of, like Dragoon, don't we? So we'll get a Wolf here off a mill. We'll activate Reinforcement of the Army because obviously we still haven't normal summoned yet. So we'll get a Raiden. We'll activate Chaos Space here. We'll pitch a Felice because it's no good in our hand. We'll go into a Chaos Creator, which is really good for us. We'll normal summon Raiden now. And we want to fill up our graveyard a little bit more with it because obviously we've got a really good hand right now of Legionnaire, BLS and Chaos Creator. Yeah, we're going into that. Obviously the opponent's thinking about our Raiden effect. See what we're going to see if he adds Chains Ash Blossom. Not Ash Blossom. Yeah, it would be S+, from the Ghost Ogre. But he's still thinking, taking time on thinking about this. But this is why that's so cool, because we look at the board we've got. The only monster with normal summon right now is Raiden, and that's after we've special summoned so many different cards. That's why Lightsworn's really good right now. Anything that can make boards really quickly and take away the idea of facing lots of interruptions and getting through that interruptions with like multiple ways to get monsters onto the board. So we'll hit the Minerva here, which will then mill a Wolf, which is one of the best hits in our deck. You see the Underworld Goddess straight away. We have to go into it because Time Lord's so hard to get rid of. Underworld Goddess comes out, and we've barely even made into our good plays yet. We'll go into a special summon of Chaos Creator, which is just it's just incredible. In fact, we've got Underworld Goddess, Minerva. We are normal summon. Now we're going to go into our BLS, banishing Tushinoku and Felice. Hitting our BLS onto the field now. I don't know how you out this sort of thing. How do you get rid of all these cards? Obviously, Trench of Tribute would be good right now, but it wouldn't get rid of Underworld Goddess because it's not targeting. We'll use Chaos Space to get an extra card to our hand. We get a Raiden, but that's alright because we can now use a Chaos Dragon Levianeer. We used the effect as well because we banished Light and Dark, destroying up to 2 cards, which is really good because up to it's not mandatory that we have to destroy 2, so we can just pick off a back row instead of destroying one of our cards as well, which is really good. Levianeer is really cool. This is the first time I've actually been able to use Levianeer in a deck. I've always thought it's really cool. Watching Rev's cards for season 1, that was really cool because he had Levianeer in my deck. That was cool, but it was Droplet. Which is good for us because obviously now we can use all of our effects, but I mean, I think we should have stopped it a little bit earlier with Droplet. But we'll banish 3, we'll get Nessie onto the board, we'll put the other cards back into our deck. We'll go into a BLS as well, so now we're going to go into our BLS, so now we've got double BLS onto the field, and that should be game from there. Underworld Goddess attacks, BLS attacks, and secondary BLS attacks, and that's game. So we're going into the last game now, and I realised all the games so far we haven't even ritual summoned our Blackluster Soldier. So of course, this last game we have to ritual summon our Blackluster Soldier. So we see them get the Warrior Turning alive, and they activate Goblin Burge. That plane, they activate the plane. They get ZS Arm Sage. So we're going to see Utopias come down, aren't we here? So if you go into a Utopia, the one that can add a double or nothing to hand, Utopia double, of course. So we get get rid of a plane, get double or nothing to hand. We see, I think this is with the new new wave of support. Oh, yep. So we go to Draconic Utopia Ray, which is a really cool card. You can equip cards to it, which is really cool because obviously we get added effects to it. And some like battle traps, some make it that you can't target the card and stuff. So it's really cool concept. But they haven't seen Lightsworn, Chaos, Blackluster Soldier, have they? They aren't expecting this. So we've got Super Synthesis in our hand. We'll activate Charge of Light Brigade. We'll mill. Then we'll go. I'm thinking what we can do here. So we'll activate another Charge of the Light Brigade. Here we see it perform a Trick Line, go to Graveyard, which is really key for us. We'll get Perform Mage, it's just a normal summon. We've got Plague Spread in the grave. We'll activate Foolish Burial here. We would normally send Wolf, but we're going to send Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier. Activate Super Soldier Synthesis, get him a BLS, get rid of a Tuber card from deck and ride him from our hand, which is really cool. And then we're going to activate, we'll summon and activate Lumina to get Raiden back onto the field from our graveyard. Minerva activates to mill another. Going to activate Raiden as well. You see a BLS go down to the graveyard. We're going to go into Chaos Ruler. Of course, the most typical card in this deck, which is really cool. We see a Wolf off that, so obviously we're not going to add the Wolf down, we're going to add the Raiden, so we can get Wolf onto the field. There he is, the big guy. We've still got Breaker Spreader, so we're going to activate Plague Spreader here. And you see here, of course, what's better than Blackluster Soldier than Underworld Goddess and Blackluster Soldier? You know it. So we get Chaos Ruler onto the field here, and that's going to be game from there. Look at that, BLS, Underworld Goddess and Chaos Ruler. What more could you want? Easy. Deck list done, guys. We'll move it over to strengths and weaknesses as always. Another long episode today. It's such a cool deck. We'll move over now and I'll talk you through what I believe in the deck is capable of. So we'll start with the strengths obviously. This deck can play through interruptions. We don't play any hand traps of course, but the deck doesn't need to, in my opinion, with the amount of searches that you're going to do. The only thing that does kill the deck, as you can see on the weaknesses, is Droll and Lockbird, but the deck can play through multiple interruptions. Monster negates don't need, so like we played through an Appaloosa on this example in the earlier ones, and we played through Dragoon. The deck can play through a lot of boards. Also, the deck can create big boards itself with Borrow Load, Appaloosa, and things like that. It's really cool, really easy to make because you're always milling. There's a lot of ways to go around the deck to make big boards that you would like to make. The deck can OTK in so many ways. Obviously, we've got the Chaos package with Levianeer, Blackluster Soldier, Chaos Creator. We've all got Chaos Creator's got 2,300 attack, but the rest have got 3,000. So there's big bodies to get onto the field, and that's not even with the extra deck and the multiple summons that you're going to do during the turn. So the deck will usually OTK no matter what. The ability to recycle resources is pretty crazy. Like, there is always something to do in the graveyard. You are always going to reuse something in the graveyard that you've sent this turn, and it's mental the amount of advantage that you can create from this. Chaos Ruler in the Synchro, it's so incredible. It has like an Adamantipator effect, but it then sends them to a graveyard instead of adding to the deck, so you get all the graveyard effects from Wolf and Felice and things like that. So Chaos Ruler is incredible in this deck right now. Chaos Ruler and Lightsworn just in general is incredible. There's so many extenders in the deck. Raiden, Lumina, Charge of a Light Brigade, Solar Recharge, Dangers, Chaos Space, anything, Chaos Dragon, Levianeer, Collapse Serpent, Wyver Beast. Every card in the deck feels like an extender, and that's what makes the deck super good. It wouldn't be a deck profile of mine without mentioning Underworld Goddess, but this deck is capable of getting Underworld Goddess out so quickly and then using the resources that you sent to the graveyard to go in further, with Chaos Ruler being able to banish lights and darts from graveyard to bring itself back out. Oh, it's so cool. Draw power, obviously charge, and Solar Recharge, being able to get into it, Raiden getting into it, loads of different options. Multiple starters as well, Lumina, Raiden, any of the Dangers, any of the Chaos package. There's so many ways to start a deck. You're not relying on just one single draw. We'll go over to the weaknesses. You can overextend the deck, and that's just by milling constantly. You can deck out, or if you think you're on the cusp of thinking, do I want to extend further, and you do, you can bring yourself into a much worse position than you were in. Droll and Lockbird kills the deck. It literally destroys the deck because you constantly want to add. And cards like Lancia also destroy the deck because, and Dimension Shifter, because you want to banish and you want to send stuff to the graveyard. So those cards can be a big issue. You can brick with your hands, obviously with Lightsworn, so you're going to draw Wolf twice, quite a few times, because it just seems to be the way that this happens. You usually can get away out of it because there's multiple starters in the deck, but that can happen. You can brick occasionally, it's not often. We don't play a hand trap package obviously, but I would believe this goes hand in hand with the two of the BLS monsters not being good. You can take out Envoy of the Evening, and you can take out a Ritual package, which I probably would as well if you were going to make it really competitive. But they were the two bad things that I would go hand in hand together. And you can mill the best cards in the deck. Obviously you're milling a lot throughout your turn. You can accidentally mill some of the better cards that you want to see in some of your extenders, which can be a big issue. But yeah, I would say the strengths outweigh the weaknesses fully. This deck has been really enjoyable. Lightsworn's so cool, I didn't realise how cool it was. Obviously I would find a place for Judgment Dragon if I could, but this deck was all about BLS, and BLS is what it's going to be about. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you would make any changes to the Lightsworn package or the Danger package or even the Chaos package, let me know. Leave it down in the comments, and yeah, I hope you enjoy your day. See you later.